Chapter 132, Meeting the Imp Again. As I said, when he steps into the Jiden stage, you can fight at any time, Jin San Xiao coldly said. HMPH, who do I, Li Yuanba, want to kill? Do I still need you to restrain me? Li Yuanba smiled disdainfully at his words, a powerful aura pressed in, a boundless pressure enveloping the entire space. The crowd was in an uproar. Li Yuanba's eyes were bursting with killing intent. It seemed that he had made up his mind to behead Kang Chon, which made them very shocked. Could it be that the Li family knew that Li Laoki was not Kang Chon's opponent? So they had allowed Li Yuanba to settle Kang Chon in advance. It had to be said that there was really this possibility. You can try. Jin San Xiao knew that Li Yuanba had moved to kill, so he said coldly at that moment. His body's true essence secretly lifted up, ready to deal with the upcoming battle. I said, you can't stop it. Li Yuanba laughed coldly and threw another punch. Jin San Xiao was just about to strike, but a figure beside him rushed up even faster than him and opposed Li Yuanba's fist. Then what if you had me? Thundercloud threw a matchless punch and blasted towards Li Yuanba. The two powerful forces erupted into a shocking collision in midair, emitting a thunderous roar. Li Yuanba stifled a grunt and actually retreated half a step. On the other hand, the opposite thundercloud retreated 3 steps. It's you. Li Yuanba looked at Lei Yun in front of him. His face couldn't help but sink. Although Lei Yun had only formed the 8th turn Silver Dan, he had never underestimated Lei Yun. After all, the mighty defeat of the innate thunder body was there. Now, Lei Yun was also at the 6th level of the Jiden stage. His strength was even more powerful than Jin San Xiao. Li Yuanba had to treat it with gravity. If you want to challenge the heavens, defeat me first. Even when facing Li Yuanba, one of the 4G of the imperial capital, Lei Yun was equally incomparably strong, with a cocky aura that shot up into the clouds. Now that he had stepped into the 6th level of the Jiden stage, he was already fearless of the 4G of the imperial capital. The surrounding crowd was in an uproar. They didn't expect Lei Yun's strength to have reached such a level. It seemed that the supremacy of the imperial capital 4G was unstable. The crowd could not help but be filled with anticipation. Li Yuanba's face was ironic. Lei Yun's unexpected appearance made him very jealous in his heart. Jin San Xiao was already not easy to deal with, plus an even more powerful Lei Yun. Even if he formed the 9 Revolutions Jindan, he still did not have the certainty to deal with these 2 people joining forces at the same time. Although Li Yuanba was strong and domineering, he still knew the importance of lightness. He was not the kind of idiot who only knew how to fight one way or the other. He glared fiercely at Kang Chon, who was standing behind Jin San Xiao, and said sarcastically, "Kid, you can only rely on others as well." Jin San Xiao Mighty could not help but frown. Li Yuanba was very sinister. He even tried to stimulate Kang Chon with his words. He could not help but look towards Kang Chon worriedly, hoping that this brother would not be impulsive. In fact, Jin San Xiao did not need to worry at all, with Kang Chon's wisdom. How could he not see this little trick of Li Yuanba? At that moment he coldly laughed and said, "You're only taking advantage of the cultivation of the Jiden stage to press me. If it's in the same realm, you're not worthy of lifting up my shoes. In fact, there is no need to reach the 6th layer of the Jiden stage. As long as the breakthrough of the Jiden stage, Kang Chon will have the certainty to fight with Li Yuanba. After all, Kang Chon hegemony blood's special bloodline is not for nothing. And there are also the powerful divine abilities, such as the Heaven Escaping Hand and the Hegemony Fist, all of which make Kang Chon not afraid of anyone in the same realm." Arrogant, Li Yuanba laughed angrily at his words as he said in a cold voice, "So what if I'll wait for you to break through the Jiden stage, provided that you can survive under my 7th uncle?" Hearing Kang Chon's words, the people around were stunned. This was the first time someone dared to underestimate Li Yuanba like this. In this great Tang country, even Zhao Wuji didn't dare to say this. The crowd could not help but look at Kang Chon in surprise. In their view, Kang Chon, even if more powerful, only the level of the Imperial Capital 4G. Even if the breakthrough Jidan stage is only He Li Yuanba, they are equivalent. But listening to Kang Chon's tone at this moment, almost ignoring Li Yuanba, if it was an ordinary person who said this, the crowd naturally thought that he was an idiot. But what Overlord Kang Chon said, the crowd did not dare to underestimate. Li Yuanba left behind a cold snort and prepared to turn around and leave. Remember to tell your seventh uncle, don't be afraid to die and not come to the life and death stage in a month's time. Kang Chon's icy voice came into Li Yuanba's ears from behind. Enjoy your last month of life. Humph. Li Yuanba snorted coldly at his words and left in large strides, directly sitting in one of that position of the four masters of the Imperial Capital. A wave of vigilance rose in Kang Chon's heart. This Li Yuanba is so confident. It seems that Li Laoki is well prepared. But even if they are more prepared, they can't expect him to have Xiao Jin as a backhand, right? He doesn't believe that the Li family can let Li Laoki's cultivation rise to the Yuanying stage. Let's go up too, Jin San Xiao said with a smile. When you break through the Jidan stage, then you can teach this Li Yuanba a good lesson. Damn it, if I can beat him, I will definitely beat him up so much that he won't even recognize his mother. Kang Chon couldn't help but smile at his words. This third young looks like he has a sea of hatred with Li Yuanba. I would like to fight him, but unfortunately, he doesn't have the guts. Humph. Lei Yun laughed coldly. He was now the same as Li Yuanba in terms of cultivation. He himself was born with a thunder body. By virtue of the power of his special bloodline, even if he had not formed the 9 transformation Golden Dan, he was not afraid of Li Yuanba. Kang Chon was puzzled in his heart. According to what Dan Lao said, people with special bloodline should be very powerful. But Lei Yun's thunder body didn't seem to have any strong points. Maybe it was indeed a lot stronger compared to other people. But this shouldn't be the only power that special bloodline has. Kang Chon himself possessed the special bloodline Kang Chon Hegemony blood. So he knew the power of the special bloodline, which was almost invincible in the same realm. Of course, Lei Yun's thunder body was definitely not comparable to the Kang Chon Hegemony blood, but even so, it shouldn't only have this little bit of power. He had some suspicions in his heart that there seemed to be some problems with Lei Yun's thunder body. Otherwise the power would never be just this, but he didn't say anything more. Because special bloodlines were other people's secrets, and it was unlikely that other people would talk about it. If you want to fight, wait until the Heavenly Dao Sect's disciple acceptance ceremony starts. Right now it's better to conserve your strength and build up your strength. There will be times for you to fight in the future, Liu Suifeng said with a smile. Between the several people talking and laughing, they walked to their respective positions. On the wide school ground, there were only 30 positions in total, of which the positions of the 4 emperors of the imperial capital, the 7 warriors of the Great Tang Dynasty, Kang Tian, and the others were in the front row, and the rest of them were some of the peak youth powerhouses who were only second to the 7 warriors of the Great Tang Dynasty. Kang Chon drank Jin San Xiao and the others, while casually savouring the desserts in front of him. But his eyes were scanning around. He wanted to take a look at the strongest of the young generation in the cultivation world of the Great Tang country. The young powerhouses that could be invited to come to the banquet. The lowest strength was at the Jidan stage, and each of them was no older than 50 years old, and only then were they qualified to worship the Heavenly Dao sect. Perhaps, for many people, their strength only belonged to the masses amongst the crowd of young talents. But sometimes strength wasn't absolute, and some people with good luck were just as capable of worshipping in the Heavenly Dao sect, even if they didn't have enough strength. On the contrary, people with bad luck, even if you are one of the 7 heroes of the Great Tang Dynasty, you may not be able to worship in the Heavenly Dao sect. Just like how powerful the old city lord of Fendu was back then. But it was because he had offended a powerful person that he was finally forced to give up the trial and had no access to the heavenly Tao sect. This was the importance of luck. On the path of cultivation, strength was certainly important, but luck was also very important. Sometimes luck represented chance. Like Kang Chon's luck was good, otherwise he wouldn't have obtained the reverse heavenly cauldron as well as the Dan Emperor. At this moment, some of the young geniuses in the schoolyard, although their strength is not as good as Kang Chon's, but they are still full of confidence in their hearts, and they all hope that they will have better luck to join the heavenly Tao sect. Then they will be a step up to heaven and become the disciples of a big sect from now on. Heavenly Tao sect. This was the expectation of all the young geniuses of the great Tang cultivation world. But in the end, how many of them were able to successfully join the heavenly Tao sect? Kang Chon sighed in his heart. As time passed, there were more and more young geniuses coming to the school grounds, and even some people Kang Chon was familiar with had arrived. The mad warrior Shen Tuji still walked in muttering to himself. His surroundings were blank. Everyone knew that he was delirious and schizophrenic, so they hid far away from him. Shen Tuji ignored the crowd and just talked to himself, sitting on top of his seat. Wu Gang's younger brother, Wu Fei, also appeared in the crowd, talking with some familiar people. Only occasionally his eyes looked towards the sky, but there was no resentment in his eyes, just an inexplicable look. All were geniuses of the young generation. Everyone was self-aware. Wu Fei was the same. He knew that someone like Kang Chon could not be messed with, and could not bring up the thought of revenge in his heart. The little devil is here. Get out of the way. A cry of alarm rang out from the crowd, followed by a clamor of noise. A moment later, a familiar petite figure appeared amongst the crowd. She opened her big, crafty eyes wide and scanned around. When she saw Kang Chon, her eyes lit up, and she jumped and ran over. Little white boy, this miss knew you were here. Humph, coming to the imperial capital without saying hello to this miss. Is it on purpose to avoid this miss? Little girl Zhao Linga glared at Kang Chon and hummed. As soon as he heard this familiar voice, Kang Chon knew who it was. He instinctively felt his body tremble. A bitter smile appeared in his eyes. Meeting this little devil again. Really going out without reading the yellow calendar. Little girl, weren't you locked up by your third grandfather? How come you were released so quickly? Kang Chon smiled and joked. Blah blah blah. In this imperial capital, who dares to imprison this young lady? Zhao Linga immediately glared at Kang Chon, if her tail had been stepped on, and said loudly. Immediately after, Zhao Linga pulled a face and glared at Jin San Xiao and the others, saying angrily, Hey, 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 what do you guys mean? What are you running for when you see this young lady? It was Jin San Xiao and the others who saw Zhao Ling arrive, and one by one, they retreated into the distance. Jin San Xiao smiled awkwardly and said, You guys haven't seen each other for a long time. Chat a bit more. I'm going to find some friends to talk about things. Saying that, he fled as if he had left. In this imperial capital, the only one who could scare him, Jin San Xiao, was the mighty imp in front of him. Lei Yun and Liu Suifeng also walked away without any righteousness, not even saying hello, so angry that Kang Chon secretly cursed the two for being unrighteous. HMPH, Zhao Linga glared at them. Kang Chon felt amused and said, Little girl, they're all afraid of you. It seems like you've wreaked havoc on a lot of people in the imperial capital. HMPH, none of them are good people. Look, didn't Sister Flower not leave? Zhao Linga pointed at Flower thinking wrong, who was not far away, and said. Kang Chon also looked towards Flower Fairy. Flower thinking wrong smiled haughtily, but she didn't participate in the conversation over, obviously having scruples. Hey, little white boy. This young lady found a good idea not long ago. Later we go to do a job. That said, you kid gave this young lady a good beating last time. This young lady decided to teach you some artistic skills. Zhao Linga said in a low voice. She thought that others couldn't hear her, that those present were all youthful experts. Even the voice of a mosquito could be heard. Not far away, Wuxianrong's face stiffened when she heard this, and then she went far away without making a sound. Kangchon even directly sprayed out the dessert in his mouth. He said with a black face, "Little girl, you'd better find someone else. I am not interested in your art."